Okay, everyone. So, as promised, I wanted to show everybody how I did this simplified version of a fabric, the trifold fabric wallet with a pocket, and what I did differently. So, this is the pattern that I printed out, and I will post the link below for you to find the printout and the actual tutorial that has a more complicated, a little bit more advanced tutorial. So, but if you're just a beginner, I just simplified it a little bit, taking out the pocket. So what I did is I took the pattern, two patterns, I printed them out, and what you can do is just tape them together. Then you'll take your interior fabric and you're gonna trace around your pattern for your interior fabric. You'll do an exterior fabric as well as a batting of your choice, which just gives it a little bit of thickness. So you really don't have to be too specific on what kind you use. I'm just using one that I had here. Even if you have a felt, that might add a little bit more sturdiness to the inside of your wallet if you don't have interfacing at home. The best kind to use though is probably the flannel interfacing, but I'm just going to use what I have here for now. And then I went ahead, and the only other piece of fabric that I cut is this one, which will be for the pocket, and this is 8.5 inches by 20 inches, and we will bring back in pattern piece 2 when we make the pocket, which is why I actually only clipped mine together versus taping it. But you don't have to, you can leave them together as well. So those are our pieces. Now to get started sewing, we're actually going to work on this pattern. I'm going to use pattern 2 to make the pocket. And the reason I'm keeping pattern piece 2 is because I'm going to use that for my measurement. So instead of following exact lengths, I'm going to go ahead and fold it and just measure it up on this, because this is the size that I want it to be when I'm done. Okay, so as I'm getting the pockets lined up, I just want to show you how I'm doing it versus using a ruler, just a different version or different way to do it. So I'm just taking my credit card and putting it in. That's how much of my credit card I would want sticking out so I could see the top. So I did the fold, the first fold like that. That's how I'm going to measure the second one as well. And I'm just going to clip where that fold is at for now. And I'm going to work my way up until I run out of fabric, until it is this wide, because this is how it's going to be when we fold the wallet. It can't be any bigger than that for our pockets. So I'm going to work my way up using this as my measurement at my table. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've done the 3 pockets. I've spaced them out, but now what I want to do is make a big money pocket for this last one where I could put my bills and not just credit cards. So this is the part where I'm going to use this, and I'm going to line it up so that when I tuck my next pocket, as you can see, I'm trying to do it one-handed, so I'm sorry. So when I tuck my pocket, that's the size I want it to be. So actually that was pretty good, but now you can see we have this excess, which is fine. I'll just go ahead and cut it off. Okay, so now I just got this off of my sewing machine, and what I did is I sewed line down the middle, so you have extra slots for your credit cards. Back here will be the money where your bills go. And then I went to take my clips off, so just so it didn't shift, as I did a seam down each side as well, just to hold it in place for now. It'll get covered up later. And I'm going to go ahead and cut across the bottom, so this will be our pocket. And then once I do that, I'm going to take my back piece that I have cut, and I'm going to lay my pocket down on the bottom of that. This piece right here, right at the bottom, to line the bottom edges up, and I'm gonna sew this pocket in to this back part. So I'll do that, and I'll show you what that looks like once it's finished. The part we add in, I have my pocket. So this will be the inside of this wallet. This is going to be the outside of the wallet. So this is the part where if you are going to sew in your Velcro or you're going to put in your straps, now you do it before you assemble. So since this is a trifold, the inside here is where there's going to be a snap or a piece of Velcro. You could sew that on now, or you can wait till after and you can glue it on with fabric glue if that's easier for you. At this point, there's nothing wrong, and chances are that will hold up just as well. And then on this side, since this is going to be the front, you have to flip it and think of it as the tri-fold this part. So the inside is where that other snap is going to be. So you'll fold it over and kind of mark where you want it to fall. So I have my finger where I would sew or put my button on. You can mark it, put your button on now, or your piece of Velcro. I wanted to add in here too that actually now, before you sew it together while you're working on the snaps and whatnot, this is actually the time where you'd want to put any embellishments on the front or on the inside if you wanted to add initials or tags or anything like that before it's sewn together so that you don't see your inside seams. So I'm going to just do it for fun this time, and I'm going to add this little embellishment across diagonal just to have a little bit more texture, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so let me show you what we have. I have my embellished front, and I decided to go with the snaps, and then I have my inside with the pockets that I have sewn down. So now we're going to work on assembling it together. So the way we're going to layer it, it's going to go your batting or whatever you're using for yours to make it a little bit sturdy. We're going to lay this one on top of it facing up at us. Then we're going to take the inside and we're going to flip it in. So this is right sides together, the two sides you want. So we're going to line it up. I'll line it up better when I get to the sewing machine and I'm not recording. And we're going to sew once it's lined up perfectly. We're going to sew all the way around, leaving about maybe a 4 or 5 inch opening on this side. So once you're sewing, you'll stop, back stitch, open, move down, start sewing again until you meet around to the edge. So that way you'll have a little opening to be able to flip the project the right way. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, line it up better, and then we will meet back, and we're actually almost done. Okay, so I have this sewn up. You can see here is my little gap that I left, my hole, so I can flip it. But what I want to do is clean it up so that the sides aren't too thick when I sew back over for my top stitch. So the best thing to do too, just good practice, is to cut your corners close to your seam. That way they lay nicely. And then you can see with mine, I have some batting kind of hanging out in different places. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that up so it's not super thick. Just kind of trim up a little bit closer to my seams and in my corners. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to slowly, it's a process sometimes, especially if you make your hole small, I'm going to slowly start turning it so that the inside comes to the out. So that's my next step. I have this wallet. Here's the front side. I went top stitched after I flipped it. This is how it looks. The inside, I have my big pocket for my bills, my credit card slots, and then when you fold it up, you'll snap it. And then this is a good spot too. I liked with the other one, I was playing around with the idea of putting a button here. Just kind of dresses it up a little bit. But this is what this looks like. This has the real fat batting inside of it. I think it turned out good. Especially this is just used a way that I used up some extra fabric from some curtains that I made at my house. So it was a great way to use up some extra fabric. Super quick and easy project. Hope this helps simplify the tutorial for you guys.